And one of the things was that the things we did wrong is we thought we came into a room like in a children's party or a birthday party, and we were performing a trick or doing something with balloons or showing off what we could do, actually. But that didn't work in hospital. So we had to lay the focus on the child. So we had to come in and see what does this child need, literally need from us, right? Of course, the goal was to make a laugh. We knew that that was the end goal, but everything was in between here. We really had to depend on the child, what it liked, what it wanted to do. Was it afraid? Was it not afraid? If it was afraid, okay, what did the child need to overcome the fear, etc., etc., etc.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is to empower you to live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and sharing insights and inspiration. And I truly appreciate you spending time out of your day to join us on this journey of exploration and growth. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic that intertwines humor and resilience. Imagine for a moment that life is like a circus, where every challenge we face is a tightrope walk between joy and adversity. Just as a clown uses laughter to connect with their audience, we too can use humor as a powerful tool to navigate the ups and downs of both our personal and professional lives. This episode will shed light on how embracing a playful spirit can foster resilience and inspire change in ourselves and others. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Eddy Smits. He's a seasoned clown performer who has dedicated years to bringing joy to children in hospitals. Eddy's journey began with a desire to teach, but his path took a creative turn that led him to discover the profound impact of clowning, especially in challenging environments. His experiences have not only shaped his approach to humor, but also provided him with invaluable insights into resilience and the human spirit. Eddy's work with children facing difficult circumstances has granted him a unique perspective on the importance of emotional cues and adaptability. In our conversation, he shares his journey in clowning and how it has informed an understanding of resilience, particularly in adults who often struggle to embrace change. It's a delightful chat that I'm certain you'll all enjoy. So without any further ado, here's Eddy. Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, my friend. Thank you.
You're welcome. I have to thank you for inviting me. So you're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. The opportunity to engage in dialogues that can really, whether it's make a difference in people's lives or open up new perspectives or ideas. I think it's really a blessing, to be quite frank with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this. So thank you for sort of helping me fulfill my mission and getting me fuel, because I really get deep satisfaction from being able to share in this fashion. Now, on this podcast, we talk a lot about, individuals, living that best audacious life, right? And the way sort of I encapsulate that oftentimes is, our life, we're on a pathway, and on this pathway, there's things that may happen that we have to, overcome, challenges, obstacles, what have you. And, it's incumbent us to kind of continue to push forward, regardless of what those situations is. And I don't minimize it, go, just get over it. I'm not trying to do that, but certainly understanding that it's incumbent on us to do so as much as we possibly can. Because on the other side of those adversities, those challenges, is where the greatness lies in our happiness. And happiness is a place that you spend a lot of time in. And no clowning around on that, by the way. So I know it's a real thing for you. As a clown performer for children in hospital in different states, I'd love to kind of get more from you in terms of the types of individuals that you work with and families as well too. And so. Maybe as a starting point, Eddy, I'll let you introduce yourself to our audience and let them understand a little bit about the work you do and what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I'll do it briefly.
Sure.
So for me, it started out as my first thing I wanted to be was a teacher, and
Okay.
that's also what I studied in the late 80s. But that didn't fulfill me because the structure of the school and stuff, I couldn't be as creative as I wanted. And then at some point, don't ask me how, I started a theater company, a puppet theater actually. That was nice, that was creative, but I couldn't make my living with that.
Hmm.
It didn't brought enough money, and I just had to be honest to myself, right? And at that point, I saw a clown on TV, on Belgian TV. It was a very popular show presented by a clown. That was, we are talking late 80s now, begin 90s. And I was so intrigued by that figure because, and also by the figure, but the fact that that children were so drawn into that clown figure, that intrigued me.
Yes.
So I went deep into that, followed courses, every kind of stuff. And I started with children's parties, all clowns start like that, probably. Um, and at some point, I think I was like 5 or 6 years into clowning, I got the opportunity to perform for children in hospitals.
Hmm.
And that was a little bit where my world opened up, because then not only my world opened up, I learned so much about people, about myself, but also the fact that there, the clowning that I had been doing and making children laugh, making them happy, didn't work anymore.
Mm.
Because there the fact is, when you're as a clown, say you come into a children's party, they see the red nose and they go berserk, right? Oh wow, the clown is here.
Right. Right.
Hee-hoo. It's funny. But in hospitals, it's the other way around. They are afraid, they are in pain, they are lonely, they don't know what's going on. So you have to break through that all. And then the just putting on the red nose isn't enough anymore. Then
Mm.
you have to be this real clown. Then you don't play the clown anymore. Then you have to be the clown. Now I know that sounds difficult to grasp, but it was just like that where the figure and the makeup and stuff were enough in the
Right.
past. Suddenly, it wasn't enough anymore. And
How
so we
quickly? How quickly did it take you to learn that lesson? I'm curious.
immediately.
Okay.
The first, um, let's say, rooms we did or I did, people, children started crying and I couldn't stop them. I
Oh,
could do
wow.
whatever I want. I couldn't stop them. So the second room I was in, the same, and then as I thought, okay, whoa, we have to change our tactics here because this is not working anymore.
Hmm.
And then slowly I learned, and I had to do it that way because that was something very new in Belgium at that point. There was one organization who had a little bit of experience, but America, it came from the Patch Adams movement, so you
Yes.
guys were into it longer. But we really didn't know anything, so we had to learn by falling and standing up, by trying. We were with two clowns at that period, so we gave a lot of feedback with each other. This works, this doesn't work.
Right.
But the more I got into it, the more I realized that we had to make this figure of a clown stronger. We had to make we, that figure was so strong, and it still
Yes.
attracted children. But we had to really do another approach, and that was really looking at ourselves, going in deep into ourselves, and thinking, okay, no, it's up to us now. What are we doing wrong? Not the children. How are they? No, we were doing something wrong, and we had to change that.
Yes.
And one of the things was that the things we did wrong is we thought we came into a room like in a children's party or a birthday party, and we were performing a trick or doing something with balloons or showing off what we could do, actually. But that didn't work in hospital. So we had to lay the focus on the child. So we had to come in and see what does this child need, literally need from us, right? Of course, the goal was to make a laugh. We knew that that was the end goal, but everything was in between here. We really had to depend on the child, what it liked, what it wanted to do. Was it afraid? Was it not afraid? If it was afraid, okay, what did the child need to overcome the fear, etc., etc., etc. And that really set us off on the good point, and that really set me off also in thinking, okay, if I literally performed for children who had just a few days to live.
Right.
So if you have the ability to do that, what more can you do in real life with that? And that was
Right.
what started to intrigue me in that period. And after 10 years of doing the job, I experienced that the more these things that I did in hospital, that I used them in my real life or my business, they seem to work there too.
Right.
So but I discovered that purely by doing, by falling, by standing up again, and was, it was a really a gratifying time. And at that point, again, we are talking. Then we were talking late 90s. We had the chance to take our time also, right? Now with social media,
Sure.
everything is on there. It has
Yep.
to go so quick.
Yep.
But we really had the time to build our foundation, and from there we built the clowning and built things. And again, what I'm saying now counts for a business too, right? You have
Right.
to build your foundation before you go any further. And so, yeah, that's a little bit in short. What I did. Where am I now is, after some time, I was in like 25 years in the job.
Hmm.
I was fed up with it. I had a really bad burnout,
Hmm.
depression. um, from there, I started coaching, which was also not really my thing. But from the coaching came the back on stage where I really belonged. Yeah, to inspire people,
Sure.
and that's what I do now. I try to inspire people. I take them into, okay, what's now working in your life and your business, and I look upon it as a child that is crying in their room. What am I doing with the child?
Mm.
A business, okay, it's now working. That for me is that a crying child, right? It's now working. We
Right.
can't make it laugh. So, and then we take all the steps we need to make it work, actually. So that's briefly what I do.
Yeah. 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 No, no, I think it's fascinating. I'm curious, the interest of getting into teaching and then getting into clowning.
Yeah.
That's an interesting transition. Was something you stumbled into, or because I don't think clowning was a plan, right?
No, for me, the plan was always working with children. I love to
Yeah.
work with children. That was
Yeah.
that was the plan. And I always, actually, up until a few years, I only always went back to the children, right? Even now, I
Right.
do some things for children. Still do something for children, um, because there's some things that I really love in children, like the honesty, like yeah, just. I am merely a child myself too. I try to be a child as much as possible. I try to be playful as much as possible. But
Hmm.
but the older you get, the more difficult it gets. But it's still there, right? I'm
Sure.
still that child in heart, and I think that's also why I keep encountering with child. There's something, and that's something magical between me and children. When I see them, or even now when I'm on my bike, and I look at them, and I can just by look at them, when we have eye contact, you feel there's some chemistry going on.
Hmm.
And I had that my whole life. So yeah, that's the thing that made me tick. Later on, I found out it was not really the child thing, but it was making people happy, making
Sure.
people inspire people. And that's also what a teacher does, actually, right?
Yes.
A good
Yeah.
teacher. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when the idea of Notion came up of putting on the red nose and the hair and the makeup, what was
Yeah.
your first reaction? Is it something you embraced that, oh, let's jump into this, or were you skeptical?
You know, funny thing is, I knew nothing when I started. I saw something, I tried things. And at the beginning, you take all these things on, and you put on a wig, and I knew I did a course like face painting for myself, so I was really white and colored, and you didn't even recognize me, right? If people see
Right.
pictures of me right then, they don't even know that it's me. But yeah, that's also why what I say to people that start a business, right? You have to just start, right? When I started clowning, I knew absolutely nothing about clowning.
I love it.
Yeah, and remember that was late 80s. There was no internet by then, right? I couldn't go to YouTube and say, okay, what does a clown do? How does he make people laugh? What does he
Yeah.
blah blah blah?
Right.
I didn't have that information. So what we did was just going out as we thought that, and then what worked, we took, okay, oh, this works. Oh my God, this doesn't work.
Right. Right. Right.
And I remember when I was on stage at some time, it was very hot in the room, or the thing, and I was on stage and I had this wig on and this theater makeup, and I started sweating, right, and I came back after when it was a break, and I looked in the mirror, and it was like I was a horror figure, you know. It was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
But I
goodness.
learned. So the thing I learned, okay, do less makeup or do something that the makeup
Yeah.
sticks. And you know, it was one after the other, learning, 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 learning. And again, but we got the time.
Sure.
I think young people, it seems that they have it easier because they have access to everything.
Right. Yes.
But at the
No, yeah.
same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
it has to go so fast. They
Hmm.
are not allowed to make mistakes. And it's just that what they need. They need to make mistakes to grow. And sometimes that's a little bit of pity. If you make a mistake up, it's on social media and everybody's laughing with you. And
Right.
and you don't get the chance to, when we were young, we did so foolish things. I told the story a few weeks back to some. If you could, if they had filmed the stupid things we did when we are young, oh my God. I mean,
I understand. I
and
can
that's the
agree that.
difference.
No, you're absolutely right, and it is a very, very, very different time
Yeah.
for young people now and then. Uh,
Not worse or
no,
better,
no,
but
no, don't. And I'll maintain different. Not is it's not
yeah,
a judgment as to who was better, who was worse, but
yeah,
just different set of challenges, situations, and solutions to problems. And so I
yeah,
hear that loud and clear. One of the things that you spoke to that I very much appreciate is you sort of talked about recognizing on the fly that what was working didn't work. So you were performing
yeah,
for children's parties, you know, I'm sure the tried and true tricks that you that were tested and were no brainers, easy to do. You have guaranteed laugh. You go into this
yeah,
new realm where you're comforting children in palliative care at hospitals, some kind of facing their own mortality, and you're tasked with the responsibility of making them laugh. And so I want to just talk about so that recognizing on the fly. So I know you mentioned earlier, but you knew it wasn't working.
mhm.
Can you give an example of some things that you worked before that didn't work and how you changed that?
Yeah. So the key here is really looking what. So let's say you came in and let's just say you stumbled and the kid laughed, right? Okay. And then you thought, wow, now I've got something. I've got something here. Yeah. You do the next room, you do it exactly the same, and the kids didn't laugh or even cried. So okay, then you have to reverse engineer, right? Okay, what's going on here? And then you have to just find out what it is. And always it was the thing that always came up was the kid. It's the kid. So we learned there we have to come in, look at the kid, what's going on, look at his face before we do something.
Ah,
First look what's going on, right? We came into a room, we did something without seeing what was going on. Is the
right.
parent there? How old? Now we knew how old the kid was, of course, because you get a briefing. But whatever. What is it wearing? Is it eating? And so on and so on. And then you choose something what you think, and you get very good at that after a while. You choose something that you think, okay, the kid is into that. When he's playing a computer game, you know what it is. Then it's clear, right? Or when he's reading or when he's drawing something, when he's drawing something and he draws a Disney figure, you know he's into that or something
Right.
else. Nowadays it's other cartoons, but doesn't matter. So, and that was so vital, and that is still vital in everything what you do in this world. Like a network event. Take that. Most people come in there and they start
Right.
blah 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 about
Yeah. Yeah.
themselves. Blah
Here's my
blah blah
business
blah.
card. Here's my business card. Here's what
Here's
I
what-
do.
And the whole network event, they are blah blah blahing and blah blah blahing without even asking themselves, is anybody interested in what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Reading the rumors that I'm hearing.
I couldn't say it better. But again, here exactly the same in a hospital room as in a room at a network event, or as a manager with your people that you manage, or as a CEO in your company. It's exactly the same. But it's here, right? It's here, and and that is the thing. Yeah, I learned there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now and I apply in everything, and even make mistakes now, of course. But that's human.
And
Um,
so and certainly what I'm hearing is that no two rooms are alike. Like when you move from one to the next, it's not you're not necessarily. I mean, some things there could be some tricks and tactics at work, but you need to sort of take that time, as you said, and
yeah,
understand the situation, survey,
yeah,
understand that each room that you go into, it's a different emotional state,
yeah,
and
yeah.
how do you fit into that?
Yeah, and also what we also and I'm glad you bring that up. What we did, right, was we went to a room, we were laugh, okay, went back, and then what I always, because I trained clowns afterwards, but I always said wait a few minutes before you go back into the next room, because you take a sort kind of motion. It was fun, woohoo, you are on a high, and then you come into a room like this. You are
Mm,
still on this high, but this room
yeah.
is neutral.
Right. Right.
That can't work, right? That can not possibly work. So give yourself some time and come in. Now, at the other hand, and that's what people assume always things, right? And the story here was in the beginning when I did the job, you got a briefing, and then the nurse said, "Oh, but that's a difficult one, and he's this, and he's that, and he's right, and he doesn't like this, and he okay." And
Right.
we took that in, and we took it in account. But at some point, I thought, whoa, 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 no, 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 no. Okay, you tell me this, I absorb it. The things that I need, I will take. The other things is blank again. If a child is, let's say, has a broken arm, and the nurse said, okay, this child is molested, right? That's another story than when the child fell from a horse. So
Right.
that's something you take. But all the rest, if a nurse thinks a child is difficult and you take that into the room, it's the
Yeah.
same, right? It's
Right.
because then you go into that room in a different way than if the nurse would say, oh, but that's a joyful child, which is also wrong to go into the room like that.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
here again, we assume nothing. Also, we had a we talked I talked a lot with my colleague back then, and then we say, okay, we are going to do this briefing. It's important, but after the briefing, we know, okay, sometimes and we forget the whole thing. Forget even at the end. I didn't even look what age the kid was anymore when I went in. I was really
Yeah.
blind. Yeah, and the more neutral I went in, the easier it was. The sooner I had a connection, the sooner I found something, and that was golden. That was really golden.
Mm,
That you could go into a room without knowing anything,
yes.
and then you had a magnificent play
Yeah.
immediately. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful. That's beautiful. And again, a lot is just learning on the fly and being really,
yes,
really big on sort of reading the signs and signals and the
yeah.
things to pick up for. Um, uh, uh, what did Eddie? What did these children teach you? Particularly these children, sort of, when you look at sort of where they're at, and again, I
Yeah.
talked earlier, some of them are facing their own mortality. What did you
Yeah.
learn from these children?
Brutal honesty is so underappreciated and so undervalued. If you are, not a lot of people can take it. That's another story, right?
Okay.
But if you can be brutally honest to someone, if you know I can be brutally honest to you, it serves you so well, you can't believe it.
Mm,
It's by being brutally honest, you serve people, and that's
right.
what we need to learn. We need don't also with children, tell it like it is, right? When a child is dying, right? Don't say, oh, but there's still hope, and no, you got this thing, black on white. You are dying. We don't know when. Let's say a month, we might, but you are dying. Be honest to that child. I saw so many parents doing the opposite, and you don't help that child by doing that.
Right. Right.
Children can take it. They can take that news. They have a certain view on the world
Sure.
that they really can take it. And that's the same with everything. If you are a manager or whatever and somebody is not doing a good job,
Yeah.
just tell them, look, you're not doing a good job, but I can help you to make it better, right? But he has to know the truth. Don't say, yeah, you're doing a good job, but let me help you get better. No, no, he's doing a bad job, right? It's being honest. But of course, you will help him. That's another thing. But if something is bad, why won't we say it's bad? Or you can say, or you can, if you go to, let's say, a play or a movie, you can say, I think it's a bad movie, right? But be honest with your opinion. I mean, and then if you are discussing colors or whatever, then it's okay. But if somebody does something that is not okay, you
Right.
should be able to just
Sure.
honestly say it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I learned from children. And they also do it with you, huh? They just honestly say to you, oh, that's a bad joke. Or no, I want you to go out now. I don't want you anymore, right? Like that. And then okay, okay, okay. I'm doing wrong here. I'm doing something wrong here, right? Which otherwise you won't know if he's just sitting there. But if he says to you literally, and I got it a lot of times, I don't want you here, go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you have two choices. You give in, or you say, wait a minute. why does this kid want me to go? But because everybody likes to laugh.
Sure.
And then you start working on it. But then you have a point where you say, okay, now I can start working to something. And you look and you gain so much time with that. If you are clear and honest, ah, you skip all the BS, skip it and start working on it, right? If you want, of course, if
Sure.
you want.
Sure. Sure.
Uh, Sometimes when you really see, no, this is really not going to work. He means it that he doesn't want to see me, whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
You can try once, maybe twice, and then when you see, no, no, he's or she is serious, let's call it a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And again, it ties the point of reading the room, but knowing when to pull back, right? Sometimes it's just not there. Sometimes, no matter how much
yeah,
effort,
yeah,
energy, how much you
yeah,
try, it just won't work. And so that's a really good skill, be able to read and understand what's
yeah.
going on.
It's really important to know when to throw the towel. It's
Yeah.
no shame
Yeah.
to throw the towel,
That's
right?
right. That's
Yeah.
right. I gotta talk about sort of humor and happiness. I mean, is that something? So we all know laughter is a great medicine. Everyone likes to laugh. Everyone wants to be happy. Is that something that you always knew, or did you learn about that? And how did you really like? What was your approach to humor as a clown?
Um, my approach. So what? It's also learning. So at
Mm,
some point, I found out that verbally, I wasn't that strong.
okay.
But if I did things non-verbal, I was really strong. And that the next step was, in the beginning, I didn't like to perform for like 2, 3, or 4 years old. I thought, oh, they are too small, they don't get it, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
all these
Right. Yep.
assumptions,
Yep.
right? But then the more I was into clowning, I learned, oh, but I have an expressive face. I only need to look at them and they are already laughing, right? And that allowed me to perform for these little children because
Yeah.
they don't have the language yet.
Right. Right.
And at some point, I started loving that so much that I loved performing for these. They could barely walk, right? 2.5 years old in a classroom or whatever. I loved it. I loved it. So you see how you can, from your strong point, how you can make your value worth to just, okay, this is where I'm good at. Go focus on that and go deeper. So that was my kind of humor, was nonverbal. The other thing about humor is, and I always tell that to people, I always compare it to a blade to a scalpel
Okay.
where
Yep.
a doctor does his surgeries. You can save somebody's life with it, but you can also kill somebody with it with the same
Mm,
thing.
mm,
And that's the same with humor. And here it's again, how do you know, Eddie? How do you know which humor to use?
right.
You don't. You don't.
Right.
Again, here you have to try, throw something in. If it's not, no, if it's not coming back, great. Everybody has the same thing. You hear a joke and everybody, oh, is laughing. That's a great joke. And you tell the joke to your friends, oh, they are laughing. And then you come into another place, you tell the same joke, nobody's laughing. And it's the same joke. You tell it the same way,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
still
Yeah.
nobody is laughing. It's that, and then, but okay, then okay, this is a different room, this is a different person, this is a different business, and so on and so on. So, but you never know before you try it.
Got you. Got you. No, and again, so it really goes back. The theme I'm hearing loud and clear is that continue to try
Yeah,
and figure out as you go. Right. There's times you're gonna have to do that. The resiliency and even the understanding of resilience is something that you've also developed a bit of an expertise on. And again, considering that you're the group that you're working with, like it totally makes sense. Um, Again, I guess the lessons learned from resiliency in children. What did you take from that?
I think in children is they keep seeing the good in everything what happens, and we can
Mm,
learn a lot of that. And that's also, by the way, what a clown does, right? He always sees something good and something bad.
right.
I remember when I performed for children that took chemotherapy, which their hair falls off, of course. Then always the thing was I used that as my clowning. I'm also bald. I didn't say anything about the baldness, but I said, hey, we look alike, or hey, that's a good look, or we get the same barber, or hey, this saves you a gel or a thing. So you try to find the good in everything, and that's also what children do. And that's the story I always tell to people, and I'll tell it briefly. the child who was about to die, the whole family was there. It was really, I had a lot of trouble coming in because I got that sense, that sentence I got a lot, like, our child is dying. The last thing we need now is a clown, which actually is the opposite is true, but they don't see it in that way. But
Mm.
okay, so I went in, blah blah blah. And then I sat besides the child, and the child said to me at some point, "Do you know why they are so sad?" Right? And I, as a clown, said, "No, I don't know." Of course, I knew. And then it says, "I don't either, because my parents say when I die, I will sleep forever." Right? So yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah.
And then she said, "But that sleeping is, I love to sleep, right? That's my favorite thing to do." So, and the people in that room heard that, and the situation, there was like 5 seconds of silence, which for me lasted like 5 years. It was like silence, and then you literally hear a sigh, and then the whole thing changed in the room. It changed. They opened the curtains. They started talking to each other. Started talking to the child. That was my cue to get out. Right?
Mm.
I've done my thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that was that child. How I think she was 9 or 10. How young she was,
Yeah.
she had the ability in that situation to still see the positive in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's something that stayed for me forever. That's also the family who still sends me each year a Christmas card. Um, that's a that was a pivotal moment for me in my
Yeah.
clowning, in my life, in everything actually. That was the moment that I really realized, okay, what happened here, this is like, yeah, this has everything. This situation has everything from for life. If you grasp what's happened here from before I entered the room until in the room with the
Yep.
family, with the child, if you take that, that's life. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly
Yeah.
what life is.
Yeah.
So that was really strong, and but that's, of course, that's the I always tell that story because that's the most pivotal one.
Sure.
But also the little things that they do, and that as an adult you can learn from that. You
Yeah.
can really learn. Yeah.
So many lessons we learn from children. I think one of the things that allows that to happen is, children aren't jaded with life, right? And all the life experiences that kind of weather people down and make them maybe distrustful or suspicious of things or doubtful of what happens in the world
Mhm.
because they haven't had those experiences. They come in with this innocence that just says, okay, let's, and as you pointed out earlier, to call things for what they truly are. And
Yeah.
that's not a bad place to be.
No, absolutely not. No, no.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I certainly love the way that you sort of taking, these lessons and through this work that you've done, and it's really quite refreshing, to be honest, because I don't well I want to say spin. I know you're not spinning it, but you're sort of applying it,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
in a really real and an authentic way that you can take from this situation and apply it to the business world, professional, and all the examples are relevant. Um, do people grasp right away when you sort of make those correlations? And they get
No, they don't.
really
They don't. They do. Let me explain the whole thing. They do, but the problem is they don't do anything with it.
gotcha.
That's the problem. So, and that's what I'm working on now is, okay, I give this lecture, I inspire people,
Yep.
people even start to cry, they clap, and even before they are out of the room, they already have forgotten things.
Hmm.
When they're out of the room and and they come out of the room, it's business as usual, very, very quickly.
Yes.
So now for me, the challenge is not to inspire people anymore, but bring change to what they are doing, because
Right.
everyone in a room has some kind of issue that can be in his business, in his family life, with his partner, whatever. So there
Mhm.
are issues, right? And I give them the solutions on a silver platter,
Yes.
right? And they see, oh, this is the solution, and they don't do anything with it.
Mm.
So then I'm going back to my clown days and say, okay, they are not doing wrong. I am doing something wrong, right? So what can I do to make them change. So now I literally say, if I do a keynote, this is the first step. The second step is to get in touch with me and have a conversation, right? From the 100 people in the room, maybe 5 will do that. And
Right.
from that 5, maybe 1 will work with me. And here it's not about the money. Here it's really about, if I don't do that, then nothing is going to change. My
Mhm.
words, maybe once in a while there will be one who takes it and does it in his life, but these are really the exceptions in the rule. So what I'm trying to do really now is find a way to make the percentage of people who is going to do something with their life, make it
Yeah.
bigger.
Higher. Yeah.
How can I do it? This is um, doing something after the talk, that they can do something after it, and not a course or not something else, because that's not, people don't do that by themselves. I mean, yeah, the motivated ones, and maybe the 1% does it, that the
Sure.
1% who, but they do everything, right? If they start doing sport, within 2 months they will be the best. If they start doing, that's in them. So, but I don't need that category. I mean, let's say this 1%, let's forget it. They will do it on their own. But there has to be like this 10 or 15% who is workable. And from those people that I can get them to change, but they don't, because there's no follow-up,
Got
right?
you. Hmm.
Yeah. So I have to find something that I can follow them up and bring really change in their lives. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on now. So
And
that's
that's
also by, yeah, by trying out and saying stuff. Um, and literally, come encountering people that you spoke for like 2 3 years. Hey, I was at your blah blah blah
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
How's it going? Yeah, yeah, great. And then when you go deeper into, and how is the situation now? Yeah, not much has changed. And then the excuses come, right? Yeah, but COVID
Sure.
happened, this happened, and I got divorced from my
Right.
wife,
Right.
and my
Right.
children
Yep.
first need to be from college. Then all these excuses come, right? So that means that I have inspired them,
Right.
but they don't do anything with it, and
Yeah.
that's a pity. That's
That's it.
that's a pity.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's no, no, I get it. And I see where I can see where that's the next step, and
yeah,
ultimately at the end of the day, there's so much you can do. It's each individual has got to pick up the mantle or pick up the task
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
proceed moving forward.
Yeah,
You did what I think is a really neat thing, is you sort of taken those lessons and you put it together, in a book. Model C was the name of your book, and it's really
yeah,
showing how the living the life of a clown can make everyone happy. I wonder if you could
yeah.
talk about the book a little bit.
Yeah, it's something I wrote 2012.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, I'll start with that. The publishing firm who published it went bankrupt, so the paperback is not available anymore. But everybody wants it. Just email me. I'll send them the PDF for free. I'm doing that. I'm writing a second one, but it's not going well.
Okay.
I'm struggling with it.
Okay.
But what was that book was really, when I did the first years as clowning in hospitals, um, sometimes something happened and it's, oh, I need to write this down because otherwise I forget it, right? So I wrote
Right.
it
Right.
down,
Right.
and at some point I had all these things in my drawer from years. And then I said, "Oh, let me type this out because some of the things I couldn't even write my own writing, read my own writing and stuff." So I said, "Oh, let me type this out." I started to type all
Yep.
these things out, and before you knew, I had like 40 pages of stuff I typed out.
Right. Right.
And then I had something, wait a minute, there has to be more in this. And then I started to, by writing it, I started to make the connections. And that's how the book went from some stories or adventures I had in hospital to the stories that I had in hospital, how I grew to be a clown, to what can you do with it in real life. So that's a little bit the organic thing that happened there. And that was it, actually. That was the book. A lot of things that I did in hospitals, what can you do with it in real life? I constantly made that switch. And that's how it became a book, actually. Yeah.
Got you. Got you. Very cool. Very, very cool. Eddie, this has been fantastic. I really so appreciate the insights here and the lessons learned. And I think that's part of what makes the work that you do so special, is that you've gone through the experiences, you picked up these lessons, you applied them, you flipped them, you switched them, you turn them around, and you give them to other people, which is such a fantastic thing. And
Yeah.
such a fun realm to be in, to do that too, in clouding. So I love that as also. But for listeners who wanted to connect with you directly or learn more about the work that you do, where can we send them?
Oh, just go to my website, eddysmits.com, or link with me on LinkedIn. That's the social media platform I'm most on.
Yeah,
And let's take it from there. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer all your questions. There's never a sale behind it with me, never. Let me help you if you have some questions, or if you want a speaker at your event, blah blah blah. Also there, I say, let's look at the budget you have. Let's see what we can do for that. I
sure.
mean, I want to be, yeah.
Very cool.
It's a little bit
We'll
the
all
Robin Hood approach.
for sure. No, I get it. I get it loud and clear. Well, we'll certainly we'll make sure all the contact details in the show notes below as well. Like I said, Eddy, this has been fantastic. Congratulations on the great work, and thank you for being a guest today on the Audacious Living Podcast.
It was my pleasure, Audie. Thank you.
Back, we are here on the podcast. During our conversation, a key theme emerged was the idea that humor and resiliency are intricately linked. Eddy's reflections on his experiences performing for children in hospitals highlighted the incredible power of positivity and brutal honesty. He emphasized that children, even in their most vulnerable moments, often display a remarkable ability to find joy and truth in their situations. This notion resonates deeply as it reminds us that embracing our authentic selves and allowing humor to guide us can be transformative, both personally and professionally. Now, what I love personally about the interview with Eddy was his genuine passion for connecting with others through laughter and his commitment to fostering resilience. His ability to read emotional cues and adapt his approach is a powerful lesson for all of us, whether we're in a hospital room or a boardroom. It's a reminder that behind every challenge lies an opportunity for growth and connection. I encourage you to connect with Eddy directly to learn more about his work and insights. You can find his contact details in the show notes below. Additionally, Eddy is generously offering a free PDF of his book, Model C, to listeners who reach out to him. So it's a matter of just contacting him. He'll send you your own copy. Again, don't miss this opportunity to gain access to his wisdom. To our listeners, I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation today, please consider following, subscribing, and sharing if you haven't already done so, because of course, this helps us grow our community of audacious individuals. Remember, living your best life is an ongoing journey, and I'm here to support you every single step of the way. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.